welcome to Make Your Passion Pay. I'm LuAnn Buechler, creator of the Make Your Passion Pay Playbook, your host and guide on this exciting journey to building joyful and successful work environments. Known as the Little Spark, I've helped countless individuals and businesses ignite their potential through transformational coaching, creating thriving businesses and joyful workplaces. I have experienced the challenges of leaving toxic workplaces and building something better. I bring firsthand wisdom to help you align your work with your values. With insights drawn from working alongside world-renowned leaders and a deep passion for community and connection, I'm here to show you how to lead with joy and purpose. Let's dive into today's episode and start making your passion pay. Welcome, everybody, to the Make Your Passion Pay podcast, where we review the playbook of the 6 C's to making your passion pay. And as a reminder, those are clarity, connection, community, collaboration, creativity, and commitment. And I'll bet we'll touch on almost all of those today in our conversation with Lynn Whitbeck. Lynn Whitbeck is the strategic sales queen. Business owners hire Lynn to ignite winning sales because most fail to create consistent, repeatable, and scalable growth. Lynn is the founder and CEO of Strategic Sales Queen, Amazon best-selling author, speaker, and host of Claim Your Own Crown. I want to talk about that, and the Get More Clients shows. When Lynn's not working, she loves visiting national parks, cooking, and playing Pokemon Go. I didn't even know Pokemon still existed.
Oh, yeah. It's a big thing.
Welcome, Lynn, and thanks for joining us today. In my business, historically, I have had an aversion to sales. I'm not alone, though, am I?
No, absolutely not. It's actually a very common thing for entrepreneurs. I mean, you're experts in your area and you know how to take your clients and transform their lives and make this huge impact. But having a sales conversation for many feels like a root canal.
That's a good analogy. It sure feels like that to me. How did you get into the world of sales, Lynn?
Well, I have literally been in sales since I was a Girl Scout selling cookies. And, what I really learned from that experience was that if you love your product or service and you love the organization, selling it is actually quite easy because, you know, like in the world of Girl Scouts, the cookies don't transform somebody, but they can really, just having one of those cookies with a cup of milk and your child or a cup of coffee can really just brighten just this little treat, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And
so,
people love them,
yeah, to this day, I can't pass a Girl Scout without buying cookies. So, anyway, but sales is really when you approach it from a different perspective of service and how you are creating impact and really transforming someone, then it takes away a lot of the negativity because all of a sudden, this isn't about you're trying to sell somebody. This is about you're trying to help someone and provide a service that's going to make a difference. And regardless of what your product or service is, whether it's helping the individual business owner, their business, their team, their community, them personally, their family, um, that creates a completely different approach and mindset because then it becomes if you can make this huge difference in their life, in their business, then you have a moral obligation to make that offer, that invitation to help them.
I
And
like
so it really
invitation better.
changes. Yes, and I actually don't like the word pitch. I've I rarely use it except for in a negative connotation. The same with the word deal. Instead, for me, it's always about making an invitation when it's a win-win, where that you can help them. You've had that conversation, you've asked the right questions, so you understand what's going on. You know that you can create impact, and you also know that there's someone that you want to be working with, that it's going to be a delight for you to help them. And that's when it's a win-win. And now you can provide that opportunity, an invitation for them to learn more about working with you.
I love that you started with the Girl Scout cookies, because the reality is all of us have been in sales all our life, because we're often even just selling ourselves for a job or an opportunity or even a friendship, you know. But think about that. If you draw that sales conversation back to that friendship conversation, right? Or I'm just getting to know somebody, and if I have something that is opposite them and positive, I can help.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's sort of like, we met with through eWomen Network, and it's that give first, share always. And it's like that opportunity. We got on a call after we were on an online SBI together just
Yeah.
to get to know one another better. And through that, we just started this conversation. Hey, would you like to be on my podcast? Would you like to be on mine? And but through this, we keep building that relationship because, when you step into that role of providing the resources or something that someone asks, like, do you have an idea about this? Okay, yeah, I have a resource, or I know who can help you. That's a really great way to, step into that role of, you know, how you show up, and showing up consistently is so important, because people start to get to really know, like, and trust you.
Right.
Because then all of a sudden it becomes, I've been thinking about having a conversation with you about your services, but now I'm ready, because now I know that you're not just some person who's
Flash
going
in the
to,
pan, right?
yeah, who's going to come like they're a hunter, right? But no, you actually keep showing up. And because of that, I've gotten to know you. Now I'm interested. And it makes a huge difference. So that when you start that conversation, now you can really dive more into what's going on in their world and what's happening either in their life or their business, aligned with your product or service. You've really got to start as a detective. You've got to ask the right questions.
And
You
you've
don't go
got
just into this is what I do. Do you want to buy from me? No, it's you got to figure out what's going on. And
to
is
ask.
there an alignment of core values? Is there an alignment of your services and your products, how they're going to serve the client, your prospect, and do you want to work with them? That then once you understand that, now you can move that conversation to the next step, to the invitation, to find out more, to learn what it would be like to work with you.
So I want
And
to emphasize something there,
yeah,
right? Ask good questions, be a good listener, ask more questions, and then if you have a solution, you can introduce that solution. Would you agree with that statement?
oh, absolutely. In fact, one of the most important things you can do is say, well, LuAnn, tell me more. Help me
That
understand.
simple phrase,
I'm
tell me more.
curious about this,
Yeah.
and then stop talking. And you want your prospect to actually talk 80% of the time. And the second answer is often closer to than the first. It's actually closer to the truth of what's really happening. So you really want to elicit more information.
So I do what I call a business acceleration assessment, which is really just a series of questions for that very purpose, to make sure that I stay in question and curiosity and keep going deeper to understand what's going on in their business. And if I have tools that can help them, I'm going to help them or offer or invite. Let's change the language. I like invite better. Um, but yeah, my last questions are like, if you do nothing, what will happen? Or
Well,
will, right,
yeah,
what we most of the time it's I'll be in the same place. Where will you be a year from now? I'll be in the same place I am right now, probably, right?
yeah, yeah. If you do nothing, not only are you doing a disservice to the prospect when you know that you can help them, that they need your help or your product or service, and you can do that for them and make a real difference.
Yeah, it is that
So
mindset though, Lynn.
why would you want to be doing them a disservice? Nobody wants to do that. I mean,
I know I was asking the prospect, if they do nothing,
right.
where will they be a year from now? To trigger that emotional reaction of, oh my gosh, I don't want to still be in this same situation. But yes, and historically, I've had that challenge of not opening my mouth to make the invitation. And I understand what you're saying logically about doing them a disservice. And I try and own that. But transparency, I still get challenged from it from time to time. And so, how do you help people overcome that mindset, that fear of that invitation?
Well, there's a couple things. The first one is I recommend that people create a value vault. And a value vault is all of the things that you've done that have created this incredible impact. And so when you work with clients, you should always have an exit interview. After, in the case for sales strategy, my clients essentially graduate. Now, that doesn't mean they don't rehire me when new things, new programs are developed or new products come up, or they want to revisit something they did 3 years ago, and update it. However, I want to make sure we get that interview, and it's a 30-minute interview to really capture, you know, their whole story. I capture the voice of the client, their testimonial that I can use in socials and on our website. But I really learn from them, what was the impact? What was the experience like? What were their initial results? What have been the long-term results? And when you create this value vault, and you know that you're going to create impact for most of your clients, like in 30 days, that whether it's a little bit of stress relief or just this calmness that they know they're finally on the right path and they're making progress, whatever it happens to be, that is so great. And then knowing the long-term results that you've created for them. And this value vault is that when you ever have that self-doubt, you go, wait, this is the impact I create for my clients. And it's like immediate. You literally train your brain to say, no, that's negative Nelly. And this is reality. This is the incredible transformation that I create for my clients. These are the incredible products and services that I deliver and the impact it has. So you can literally train your brain to do that in less than 60 seconds. Like you catch the negative thought and you go, nope, because I know, because I've created my value vault. And even when you're going to go into a big meeting or a presentation, it's a great thing to just review a few of those and say, this is what I do. And this is how valuable it is.
I love
And
that.
now you just go in this awesome mindset, very different. And so a value vault is a really great exercise.
I love that. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about that before. So there you go. I learn something new every time I do a podcast. I love it. So one of the other things you said is when you love what you do.
Yeah.
When you love what you do, you're sharing instead of selling. And thus my passion for helping people make their passion pay, right, is really owning what they love doing, in service to others, which
Yeah.
was another word you said, was we're serving. We're
Yeah.
not selling, we're serving others with the tools that we have. And I just like to emphasize these things so people grab them, right? And really understand. A former coach of mine turned sales into an acronym that helped me, and it was uh, serving anyone lovingly, effectively, and successfully.
Yeah.
And so I want my audience to have that acronym to help with that mindset shift, right? Because it's helped me.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other
And
thing,
there's so much that is in your head and that's a great acronym.
well, and that's another thing to catch what's going on in your head. I talk about that all the time. And it's going to still happen. You don't correct mindset and it goes away, the negative Nelly. Negative Nelly is going to pop in
Yeah.
from time to time throughout your life. It's how do I recognize it? And I call it reframing it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, negative thoughts are actually incredibly common because remember, human beings were an animal And many of the negative thoughts are there to protect us. Um, they're, think about caveman days, like, is that lion going to eat me?
Yeah.
And there's a good reason why we have a predominance of negative thoughts. But the key thing is that to recognize, is this a negative thought that's an a real, it's like a real warning. And we get those too. Like, yeah, this guy, yeah, sleazy, slimy. It sounds too good to be true. Well, it probably is, right? So you've got a negative Nelly actually there for a purpose sometimes, like, oh, should I walk down this dark alley in the inner city at night? Yeah, I don't think so. By myself?
Yeah. But there's another point that I think I just saw there that's kind of an aha moment for me as well, is that when I'm evaluating a situation that includes another person,
Yeah.
right? Think about, is that fear or flight valid or not? It could be, right? But most of the time in the sales conversation, it's my own brain making up stories.
Yeah.
And all that negative stories, would you agree, 90% not true?
Oh, yeah. No, we're projecting um, all kinds of things onto the other person instead of actually listening and then asking a clarifying question. And so, I mean, a classic is like a no is a no for now. It's not a no forever. I mean, I actually had one this morning that they weren't ready to make the investment in their sales strategy. And I pointed out there were many ways to work together. And I suggested a few of the my group programs. They've already booked a call to talk with me about it. So it was, so sometimes,
So that no became maybe.
yeah, yeah. And also timing is everything too. I really look at, there are very few times that it's a no forever. But sometimes it's that no is also maybe it's just not a good fit. There's just, but they can still become a platform. They can become a promoter. They can become a partner. And so you want to look at the no's when you actually get a firm no. That's just like, okay, great. Now I can move to something else. But listen for what they were saying. If
That's
someone's a no for a private program, for me, private
Yep.
client program, which
Yep.
is a much higher investment,
Sure.
is there an alternative?
Right.
Which is then what I suggested. And they
Right.
were like, heck yes, I want to talk about it.
Yeah. Right. Historically, that's called the downsell,
Right,
right? If not at the high level, something else. But what I feel like I observe is, in my experiences, um, is I rarely get a definitive no.
right.
I get some other reasoning or excuse, or I should say, reason that feels like an excuse from my perspective. And then that becomes another uncomfortable situation. Do I keep digging or not?
Yeah, so it depends, of course, on the objection. So often, objections, the primary purpose of an objection is that someone hasn't recognized the value exchange that they're going to receive. So therefore, they're not ready to say yes. And so they're putting forth, sometimes objections are truly legitimate. So they could be saying that, um, you know, right now with their financial situation, this is something that they're interested in, but it's completely beyond their reach. And
Mhm.
that's the reality. And then that's like, I completely understand that. And that is where you have an opportunity to put them into a different, you always should start with your highest price program so that you psychologically set the pricing because it's much easier to slide down the hill, right?
Yeah.
And so the other thing is to say, then set, well, let's talk in, 3 months and let's schedule that now so we can just check in and see where you're at and if one of the group programs might be a good fit for you then. Because I also want to check in and see where you're at in 3 months, because if nothing has changed, then let's look at how we can fit that into your budget,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
And so one of the things is you look at what the objection is. Some objections are completely legit. I
Right.
mean, they've got, oh, my son's getting married and my mother, I'm having to move her and I can't even conceive of adding something new to my plate.
Right.
Well, thank you, because you won't be able to give it your attention. And you are
Right.
absolutely right. And what
And
we
it
want to
won't
do
work.
is take a look at your schedule. You've got these two big milestones, and let's look at that. And I want you to know that I'm here. You could just reach out and say, you know, oh my gosh, I'm having the worst day. You know, any
Yeah.
ideas? And
So,
I'm going to respond in a timely manner. So I'm going to be here while we get through these big milestones, and let's book that. That's a minimal actionable commitment. Let's schedule the call in 3 months.
right. So
So
no
that's
is
really important.
no can be not right now.
Yeah,
Always schedule another call for another conversation.
yeah,
Um, and recognize that some knows our true reality of
your
incapable
situation.
bandwidth or financial investment, for example.
Yeah,
So I do that, right? So I have the conversation. That was another tip. Start at the top price
yeah,
point always, because you can always slide downhill and give them different opportunities. And oftentimes your lower programs, a group program is in your case. Um, and so I do all that, and then they no show for the appointment we scheduled.
yeah.
What's your
So
recommendation there?
So one of the things is when you're out a few, when you've scheduled something 3 months out, is actually put it in your calendar for a week ahead for you to check in and to confirm the appointment and to give them a piece of value. Why does it matter that they show up? So from that conversation that you had with them, bring up a few things that they mentioned that you want to follow up, you want to check in on how they're doing on this and how this is going, and you're looking forward to calling them, and you're confirming the call on this date and time. And by the way, here's the Zoom link. Make sure that's in your calendar. And so that's a great way to forestall that, okay, with the no show. Um, and that's one of the key things is now you've delivered some additional value and you've reminded them why it's like, and they'll go, oh, yeah, well, 3 months ago, I said I was going to have my book published, and I'm still in the same spot. Nothing's happened. Oh my
Right.
goodness. And, you know, yeah, do I really want to, but so you got to do it with some gentle gloves, right? But, and what are some ideas that we may have that we can brainstorm together, wherever you're at for you to move forward. And so there's a great way that you can position this. So, I mean, we're just doing this completely ad lib, but there's a strategy and you develop that strategy. And then you can have multiple templates that you can say, okay, this is the template for this person. And today, with the technology that we have, if you're recording the calls, you're creating an AI transcript, it's really easy to pull out and you getting a recap or an overview.
Right.
It's like, here are the top things they talked about. And it's
Right.
super simple. You've got a template and you can drop them in, and then you're using the right language so that people don't feel that you're going to put their feet on the fire, but you're doing it in a
Caring.
gentle way about how can we keep the forward progress and the momentum.
Right.
And so that's the purpose of the call, reminding them. So that's one way to make sure if you're encountering no shows, there's a whole strategy around no shows. I mean, I've helped a lot of businesses with improving their no show rate, from everything also with how you build out, whether you're using Calendly, Acuity, Go High Level, the sequence of reminders. Because as long as it's reminding them of the value that they're going to receive by showing up, they're more likely to show up.
Okay, so now I want to emphasize this is what Lynn does. Helps you build the strategy, right? Because here's the other thing I think that small business owners do is we invest in something like Go High Level, and then we fail to use it to the full extent of its
Yeah.
capabilities to help us make those sales. And in this moment today, what you just said about AI, when so many people are sitting in fear of AI, it's simply because they don't understand it. And so they're not using it or learning it when it could help with the sales process.
Absolutely. It's a tool like any other tool. And it's also a tool that's misused a lot. Like right now, people are misusing it as an easy button, like the Staples easy button. So they're just putting out garbage. I mean, we're even inundated with more garbage than ever. So that is the wrong way to use it, right? But there is also a smart way to use it. And when you use it in a smart way and you build out that process and how to leverage it as a very effective tool, so I'm going to go back in the day. All right. I want to take you back, everyone. I want to do a little story. And this is going to date me, but I still remember when the fax machine came out. So, all right. Yeah. Back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and the president of our company had bought this new fax machine. I was in sales. I was actually the top salesperson. And I just went, oh my gosh, him and his toys. How are we ever going to use this? By the end of the month, I couldn't imagine living without it. I was literally getting orders faxed to me, POs, just shoot, like every day. I mean, it was because once I learned how to use the tool and I started leveraging the tool, all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I'm going to point out too that a fax is actually a pattern disruption, and anyone who's working with a larger business, they may still have a fax machine in their building, in their business, in legal or in HR, or accounting, whatever.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing: you can actually send a fax to someone as a follow up method, a single page fax, value driven, that all of a sudden it's going to be put right on their desk and they're going to walk through the hall going, look, I got a fax. So,
Right?
anyway, that's another side point. But the thing is that when these tools first come out, we have to know it's one thing to just start sort of blindly using them and just sort of start faxing spam, right? Well, that's just garbage. But if
Right.
you use it effectively, how do you use the tool to leverage what you're already doing so you can make it easier and more effective, right? And save you some
Right.
time.
So Lynn's your go-to gal for making your sales process more effective. And naturally, in the strategy that she helps you build, there will likely be some AI components
Yeah.
that she can share with you, and other tools that you're not thinking of, because we're too busy running our businesses, and we all prefer to be in our own zone of genius. And if we could only do that and people just showed up and said, I want what you have, that would be great. But that's not what happens. That's not reality.
Yeah.
So you need folks like Lynn, right? And it's, to me, I mean, I always say everybody needs a coach from time to time. This morning, one of our mentors said, you always have a coach, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's a matter of which type of coach. I worked with a client on the culture and employee engagement in his organization, and then he hired a systems coach to help them improve their systems in an auto body repair shop.
Yeah.
Like, good on you if that guy knows auto body repair, because I don't, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to point out, right? There's specialists and coaches in these areas, and Lynn is your go-to in the sales field. And then we have a friend that does AI, which, you're going to do it from a sales perspective, Lynn, right? But I just caught another AI tool this morning. Is AI summarizing all the emails from a person and telling me the summary of all the conversations in the top of my Gmail. I just noticed that today. I'm like, that was so helpful. I just came back from a week's vacation. So to, put my brain back in the game to have that summary was super helpful.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and
there's
that,
so many different ways it's being implemented. Absolutely.
yeah, and the bottom line is, does it provide value? The same is true within your sales conversation, right? You are providing value, you're helping, you're serving people. Stay in that mindset.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
until they see the value, they're not going to buy.
Yeah, truly. That they have to determine that this is an investment that they can't afford not to make in
Right.
whatever the service is. I mean,
Right.
even when it comes down to buying a new iPhone, you know, it's like,
Right.
oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, um, yeah, brand new, bigger camera, better video, more storage, whatever that is. When you're
And
asking the right questions, then you can pinpoint what's that key thing that they are lacking of. Like my daughter's constantly deleting things from her phone because she doesn't have the storage. So if somebody honed in on that, they would immediately go, oh, well, simple solution. We can do that right here and now, and you're going to get quadruple or 10 times the storage or what have you, right? And so if you know the right questions to be asking, right, from the voice of your client, really understand your client's thinking and their language, now you can ask the right questions so that you can hone in on the thing that's most important to them.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You got to find that pain point. They've got to see the high value. So it's high pain plus high value equals the sale. Isn't that a formula out there somewhere?
I'm sure it is.
Lynn, how can my audience reach out to you and connect with you? Do you do, I think you were just talking about doing a call this morning, sort of a discovery call. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the easiest thing is actually, I would recommend getting my Get More Clients checklist. So this is going to walk you
Mhm.
through the sales process, and it takes you like 15 minutes, but you'll be able to see areas that you're just rocking it. It's going really well. And areas that, okay, yeah, not so well. And maybe areas that have this huge gap or a chasm. And like maybe that's something that you should be working on. So it's going to walk you through that, and you can get that with the short link P the number 2q.link/checklist. And so that's going to be a great place to start. And after that, you're sort of obviously you're going to get some emails from me with some extra value. And if it's something that you want to have a conversation, those links will be right there.
And we'll make sure that initial link is in the show notes and other ways to connect with Lynn on social media. So if you have identified in your business that sales is a challenge for you, if you're struggling with your mindset around sales and want better strategies to get more clients, it's the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Get more clients, then I want you to reach out to my friend Lynn Whitbeck. And if you're still figuring out what you're passionate about, well, then you reach out to me. And once
Yep.
we've identified what you love, we'll get you back to Lynn for the sales strategies so you can truly make your passion pay. So, everybody, have a great day and make your passion pay. Thanks, Lynn, for being with us.
Thank you so much, LuAnn. It's just been such a pleasure.
Bye for now. Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in to Make Your Passion Pay. If today's episode inspired you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a rating, and share your thoughts in a review. Every listener makes a difference in spreading this mission of joy and purpose. Want to take the next step? Share this episode with your friends, colleagues, or anyone looking to build a thriving, values-driven workplace. Together, we can create communities where passion fuels success. Until next time, remember, when you lead with joy, you inspire greatness. Let's keep making your passion pay.